Here's a weird thought I can't stop thinking about. What if a cyberattack breached Russia's nuclear command system and launched every warhead in its arsenal? By the time anyone realized it was a hack and not a deliberate strike, every other nuclear power had already launched its counterattack. Would we vaporize the planet? Create a second sun? Or just flicker out? Let's be clear about what we're talking about. As of 2025, the world holds roughly 12,241 nuclear warheads. About 3,900 are actively deployed, meaning they're sitting on missiles ready to fly. The rest are in storage or retired. Nearly 90% of these belong to just two countries: Russia with 5,580 warheads and the United States with 5,044. A modern nuclear warhead, like the W-87 on a Minuteman III missile, yields about 300 kilotons. That's 200 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima, which killed an estimated 140,000 people and flattened 90% of the city in a single flash. Now multiply that by 12,241. If every warhead detonated with an average yield of 300 kilotons, you're looking at a combined explosive force of roughly 3,672 megatons, or 3.6 billion tons of TNT. For context, Mount Tambora's 1815 eruption, which caused the year without a summer, released about 30,000 megatons. So we're not quite volcano level, but we're in the same horrifying neighborhood. Initially, the destruction would be localized. Each warhead targets a city, military base, or a command center. New York, Moscow, Beijing, London, Paris, Tel Aviv, Mumbai. Within 30 minutes, every major metropolitan area on Earth would be erased. Not damaged, erased. The fireballs alone, some stretching 5 miles across, would vaporize steel, concrete, and flesh instantly. Blast waves would flatten everything for another 10 to 20 miles. An estimated 3 billion people would perish in the first hour, not from radiation, but from heat and pressure. Cities wouldn't burn, they'd disintegrate. And then the fires would start. Nuclear detonations don't just destroy what they hit, they ignite everything around them. Forests, suburbs, chemical plants, oil refineries. These fires would merge into massive firestorms, sucking oxygen out of the air and sending superheated plumes of smoke, soot, and ash tens of thousands of feet into the atmosphere. We're talking about millions of tons of black carbon smoke, enough to encircle the northern hemisphere within 2 weeks. This is where the nuclear winter begins. The smoke wouldn't just hang there, it would block the sun. Studies estimate that sunlight reaching Earth's surface could drop by 90% or more. In the middle of summer, temperatures would plummet to 5 degrees Fahrenheit colder than most winters. The effect could last for months, potentially even years. Crops would die, photosynthesis would stop, the global food supply, already strained by the immediate destruction, would collapse entirely. According to a 2022 study by Rutgers University, a full-scale US-Russia nuclear exchange could reduce global calorie production by 90%, leading to the starvation of an estimated 5 billion people. Even if you survived the blasts, even if you avoided the fires and radiation, you'd likely starve in the dark. But here's the kicker: the planet itself wouldn't be destroyed. If you detonated every warhead in one place, say stacked them all in the Amazon rainforest and hit the button, you'd create a fireball 31 miles across, a mushroom cloud 30 miles high, and a crater roughly 10 kilometers wide and 2 kilometers deep. Devastating? Absolutely. Planet killing? No. Earth has survived worse. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs released energy equivalent to roughly 100 million megatons, about 27,000 times more powerful than our entire nuclear arsenal. That impact caused a mass extinction, but Earth recovered. Life found a way. So the irony here is almost poetic. We have enough firepower to annihilate ourselves, but not the planet. The radioactive fallout would blanket continents. Winds would carry it across borders, oceans, and hemispheres. Rain would bring it down, into soils, into rivers, into the food chain. Cancer rates would spike. Birth defects would multiply. Entire ecosystems would collapse under the weight of ionizing radiation that lingers for decades. And yet, some humans would survive. Not many, maybe a few 100 million in the southern hemisphere, places like Australia, New Zealand, Southern Africa, and South America, far from the blast zones and the worst of the fallout. But even they would face years of darkness, cold, and famine. Civilization, as we know it, would end. Not with a bang that shatters the earth, but with a whimper as the lights go out and the food runs dry. So, what if all 12,241 nuclear warheads launched at once? We'd erase our cities, poison our sky, and plunge the planet into darkness. 3 billion dead in an hour, 5 billion more from starvation. The few who remain would inherit a frozen, irradiated wasteland, where survival means scavenging in the ruins of a world that used to thrive.